Hello, hello, hello. It's another episode of Small Talk Arkansas. This is Monday, April the 6th. It is 9 a.m. at our film time here. This is Season 1, Episode 6. I'm your host, Jason Martin.
And I'm Tessa Wilmans.
Good morning. We're coming to you again from our CoronaCation kitchen table studio.
Stabbed me with a pen.
Stabbed you with a pen. I think you stabbed yourself with a pen.
I was trying to show off the table.
I got it.
The studio.
You stabbed yourself.
I did.
Pen out.
Damn it.
All
got
right.
a little more ink.
We've got a special guest for you on today's show. We've got Johnny Cambell. He is owner of Pizza Pro in Cabot. He's going to be talking about the business of pizza during this CoronaCation. And today on Shit We're Into, during the show, we're going to talk about
one
Ozark.
of our favorite shows.
Netflix's Ozark.
We finally finished Tiger King. We're going to be on to Ozark.
Tiger King finished it last week, into Ozark this week. Right now, we're going to get into the news. We're going to talk about the coronavirus, the statistics.
There's a coronavirus going on, right?
There's a coronavirus still going on. And
we're a new week, and
unfortunately, it's growing.
It's still there.
Yep. So talking about Arkansas specifically, the numbers grew significantly over the weekend. Of course, we didn't know a show Saturday or Sunday, so these numbers go back. But I'm going to give you just week analysis. So as of this morning, there's 853 cases of coronavirus in the state of Arkansas positive. Looking at that versus last week, last Monday was 449 cases.
Wow.
So we've had 404 new cases since the last Monday.
In a week.
Yeah. We've got 16 deaths in the state right now. Last Monday we had 6. So that's 10 deaths in the state since last week.
That's more than doubled.
We've currently had 11,780 people in Arkansas that have actually been tested for the coronavirus. So when you look at that compared to last Monday, there were only 3,536 people that have been tested in the state.
We have been testing people like crazy.
Yeah, so that's more than 1,000 a week.
Yeah.
That's a significant jump day to day when you look at the testing rules that they've got in place for who's eligible to get tested. That's a big increase. When you take and you look at the U.S. population, you look at the U.S. numbers, there's another just massive explosion. We came to you on Friday on the show, there were 245 positive cases in the U.S. As of this morning, there's 337,933, so basically 338,000 cases. If you look at that versus last Monday, where there was 144,672, we've had 193,261 cases difference this Monday versus last Monday.
That's a big town.
That's a big town.
That's a big town.
That's almost the population of Little Rock. That's all of a sudden coronavirus 7 days later from this Monday to last Monday. So across the world right now, there's across the country, 338,000 cases. With that, there's 9,653 deaths in the U.S. right now, and that's up. Here's versus last Monday, there were 2,500 deaths. So 9,600 deaths, there's more than a 7,000 increase. It's 1,000 people a day that are dying by coronavirus in the U.S. right now.
That stings. That hurts.
It's a big number.
That is a big number.
That's a big number.
It's no wonder we're having to take all these measures.
Yeah. Stay at home.
Mm-hmm. Stay the fuck home.
Stay at home. If you don't have, there was someone shared a video with me this morning, the Samuel L. Jackson reading a poem. He's like, hey, I'm not a doctor, but, when I read a poem, people tend to listen to me. And he's like, hey.
It was that book.
He's reading a book.
Yeah, it was that children's book. They remade it.
Yeah, if you're not, running, if you're not out of groceries, running to the grocery store to get groceries, stay at home.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck at home.
Stay the fuck at home.
He says, hey, you can even go back to bed.
Yeah.
You can still be asleep.
You can.
So,
we all like that.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about county by county in the state. Tier 5, which is 75 plus cases. Pulaski County remains to be the only county that is a Tier 5 in the state. Looking at that, there is 161 cases on this Monday morning in Pulaski County versus 98 from last week. So you see the jump just alone. It's almost 10 cases a day in Little Rock. When you look at the rest of the counties, Tier 4 is 20 to 74 cases. 20 to 74 positive cases is a Tier 4 counties in the state of Arkansas. Right now, you still have Benton, Washington, Van Buren, Claiborne, Faulkner, White. We've got 2 new counties, Craighead and Saline, that have joined this Tier 4. Crittenden, Garland, Clark, and Jefferson. So those are there's 12 counties now in that Tier 4, with Craighead and Saline being the new ones. The only other real numbers or things to jump out at me on that page, you look at, let's see, Faulkner went from 38 to 47. So they had 9 just literally over the weekend. 9 cases over the weekend. Crittenden went from 32 cases. Crittenden County went from 32 to 53.
Oh, wow.
So that's a pretty
significant
massive
jump
just over the weekend. And Jefferson went from 49. We kind of saw a peak on, Jefferson had a spike from Tuesday to Wednesday last week, and now they're having another spike where they went from 49 cases to 62 cases. So when you look at that, you're going, okay, Pulaski County's got 10 per day on average jump. Jefferson's in the same boat if you count over the weekend. So, data, the stuff, guys, this is not slowing down. It's actually increasing every single day. So those are things that absolutely think about. Stats, the Arkansas Department of Health also provides us stats by age group right now. And these stats are only put out every 24 hours. So the last time they were updated was late yesterday evening. But just to give you an idea, first and foremost, it gives us to it by age group. So 0 to 17, 17 years of age and below, 20 cases in the state of Arkansas right now that are 17 or below. 18 to 24, there's 55 cases. So you look at 24 and under, that is 75 cases in the state right now. That is almost 10% of the cases total.
Caseload.
Is 24 and under. When you look at 25 to 44, which people thought that, initially it was everything. This was older people. It was supposed to be, it's not going to affect me. That's 70 up, 65 up, that age break. Well, 25 to 44 is 246 cases.
That's a lot of cases. That's a lot of cases.
It's a lot of cases right now. And that's still just a 44. Let's break it on out. They break it on 45 to 64. There's another 290 cases.
Man.
So when you look at the 65 plus, which is that age group that we said,
that we were all so concerned about and oh my gosh, it's going to affect them the most.
65 and plus has 219 cases. So, you look at, that's a small amount. Now, those cases are probably, there's certainly, we've seen the stats and they're much more deadly. At 65 plus, it's, I don't want to say, it's just more deadly when you've already got a weak immune system, something to that age. So, guys, this is affecting everybody. It's affecting all ages. There's nobody that's immune to this. You don't have immunity. This is something that the best thing right now, the only way we're going to slow these numbers, and this week we're going to continue to see a massive rise, not only in the state of Arkansas.
That's what they were saying on the national news.
But across the country.
This week is going to suck. We're
going to see a bad week. So, guys, you got to, more than anything, I know weather's nice outside. There's, you sit around the house all day going, hey, but I could go run this errand. I could go do that errand. I could go do this. I could go do that. Stay home.
Yeah.
Do your part. We're all in this together. Do your part to stop the massive growth. Our hospitals just can't take it. Right now in Arkansas, it is a 41% male to 59% female ratio of those that have been tested positive. Guys, if that tells you anything, when you're in a household and there's a husband and wife or a boyfriend and a girlfriend or whatever you've got there from that aspect, guys, if somebody's got to go out to the grocery store, somebody's got to go do those runs when you're low, the male to female ratio, guys, go make the run, come back home, take your shoes off outside the house, go in immediately, put your clothes in the washing machine, do those types of things so that you don't infect those others that are potentially that are in your household. But let's do what we've got to do to continue to fight.
That's interesting that that's in our state, because I think nationally it's men have slightly more cases than women.
Wow. Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that. We can figure it out tomorrow.
In Arkansas, again, this data was just, updated once a week. There's 67 cases that are actually currently hospitalized, and there's 22 patients on vents right now in the state of Arkansas. So that's in Arkansas. Let's bust out. We do this every day. We also
how are our neighbors doing?
How are we doing on a state by state basis? Looking at right now, New York is still tier 4. Tier 4 is 10,000 plus cases in a state. New York is still the epicenter of the U.S. It's 122,000 cases right now in New York. That's up. Yet last week was 60,000 cases in New York. This week we're up to 122,000. So 60,000 to 122,000 in a week. That's
huge.
Where this is going. You look at the deaths, and so you go, okay, well, the cases doubled. But here's a very interesting telltale, I think. The deaths are now 4,159 deaths in New York. The majority of those are New York City. Versus last week, last Monday, there were 1,026. So it's 4 times the deaths, twice the number. I think if those numbers hold true in other states or other areas, guys, this is going to be bad. I mean, if 4 times the people are dying opposed to that's ugly. That's really bad.
It really is.
State number 2 in the U.S. right now, as far as those that are affected, is still New Jersey. New Jersey has a little over 34,000 cases and 846 total deaths. California, going back out to the West Coast, want to pull something so we're not all up in the Northeast and we can kind of just keep up with the data. California had a big growth over the weekend. So California is now to almost 14,000 cases in California. They're the largest on the West Coast amount of cases. They've had 324 deaths. And even with that being said, the crazy thing is you still take California, and then let's talk about states that border Arkansas. Louisiana has 12,496 cases. So they're almost neck and neck at 13,000 cases with California. And they've actually had more deaths.
They've surpassed in death.
So they've had 409 deaths in Louisiana versus the 324 in the total state of California.
Oh, that hurts.
So, that's close to us. That's a bordering state.
Those are our neighbors.
It's our neighbor. Texas is a tier 3 state. They are still under 10,000 cases. They're at 6,872 right now with 123 deaths. But Texas is our only neighbor that is a tier 3, while Louisiana is a tier 4. Tennessee is, and they changed the tiers on the states again. So, as this continues to increase, I guess they really have no option but to or most of the states would all be put into one small group. But Tennessee is now a tier 2 state, where Texas is a tier 3, and the 10,000 plus is tier 4. A tier 2 state's 2,501 cases to 5,000. Tennessee has 3,322 cases with 50 deaths. So, going back to tier 1 now, Missouri, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Arkansas are all now classified at tier 1 because they reclassified the numbers. There's all states now show that there's at least one case, where last week there were still states that had 0 cases.
Gotcha.
So the tier 1 of 0 before is now gone.
Yeah.
Tier 1 is now 1 to 2,500 cases. Missouri has 2,346 with 43 deaths. Mississippi has 1,455 with 35 deaths. Oklahoma has 1,161 with 42 deaths. And Arkansas has 853 with 16 deaths. So by far, Arkansas is still under everybody else around us, guys. So we are doing our parts to stay home. I'm curious how this continues to trend. If we're not going to see a later spike that catches us up to some of these other states. But, keep in mind, Missouri has, again, Kansas City and St. Louis, very, very large cities, very big populations. But Mississippi, they really don't. They don't have anything any larger than Pulaski County, Little Rock area.
Yeah.
Oklahoma does. I mean, they've got Oklahoma City. They also have Tulsa, which are both pretty large cities.
Yeah.
But Arkansas, we're significantly less than them, especially in the death toll, guys. Deaths, we're at
16, where all these others are 30 plus.
30 plus. Mississippi is 35. Everybody else is 40 plus.
Yeah.
So, in a tier 1 state, we are doing a good job. So you guys keep staying at home.
Yes.
Keep listening to Small Talk Arkansas.
Please do. And, maybe share with your friends.
Share it with your friends. Yeah. If you like Small Talk Arkansas, please help us out. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Share the channel. Share the video with others.
Yes.
With friends. We need subscribers right now to continue to build on the YouTube algorithm so that our channel shows up in more searches and more people find
us. And all
us.
that jazz. Yeah. We want to be found.
So please.
We're all over the internet.
Please find us. We appreciate it. Guys, right now we're going to be talking to our special guest of the week, or special guest of the day. Week. We're going to talk to Johnny Cambell. He's the owner of Pizza Pro in Cabot. He's going to be talking about the pizza business during this CoronaCation. All right, Johnny, are you there? Johnny Cambell.
I'm here, Jason.
Hey, Johnny.
Johnny, great to talk to you this morning.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Hey, would you take a minute and just tell our listeners and the people that are watching our show right now, just introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, what you do, and just more about you and why you're here. Because we're talking about pizza pizza business since CoronaCation.
Okay. Well, my name is John Cambell. Or it depends on how long you've known me. Some people call me Johnny. So if you go way back, as you've been calling me Johnny, and I am the franchisee, the owner of Pizza Pro here in Cabot, location that's been around since 1987. But my wife and I purchased it in July of 2018. It was the store that I started out as a delivery driver in high school. And when it was offered to us a couple of years ago, of course, sentimental value, I jumped all over it and bought the franchise here in town. I also have a day job, and I work for PFG, Performance Food Group, or to some people known as Performance Food Service. So I do that during the day, and then I work my store generally about 6 nights a week.
So you're going to be able to give us a little bit more insight, not only about your pizza business in the pizza store that you own and operate, but also basically what's going on with food orders right now across the board.
And the rest of the restaurant world.
Right.
Cool. Well, that's a lot of good insight. So let's start back. You said 1986. Is that when you started with Pizza Pro?
No, 1987. The Cabot location, Pizza Pro was founded and started in 1985. And then I started as a delivery driver at the Cabot location, which was across the street. We're on South Pine Street, which used to be and still is the main street in Cabot. And I started out as a delivery driver in 1987 and then stayed on board. And when we started franchising in 1992, Used to travel quite a few states and help with the franchising of the company. So was with the company for a total of 16 years and through various positions, and ultimately their vice president and now a franchisee.
Wow. So you've had pizza in your blood pretty much since you were old enough to drive. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. So fortunately and unfortunately, when you get into the food service industry, it does kind of get into your blood. So I've basically all of my adult life has, except for a few short stops, has been in the restaurant industry in some shape, form, or fashion.
I think that is, if you go and you talk to pretty much any restaurant owner, that's kind of what you hear. There's very few people that just woke up at 45 years old and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in the restaurant business." It's pretty much people that have been doing it for decades.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. And when they do jump in it at 45 years old, they find out it's a completely different animal than what they thought it was going to be.
I bet.
You mean because I've eaten in a restaurant before, Johnny, I don't know how to run one?
Well, there have been those rare instances that people have that are enough foodies and have gone around to enough restaurants, and they have a business acumen to mimic those things that they see. But it is very rare. It's a lot of hours, a lot of behind the scenes hours, like running to when your truck doesn't have everything you need, or you have a spike in business and you're waiting on your delivery truck coming from your food distributor, making those trips to either Kroger or Walmart or those places. There's a lot of stuff that goes that you're not actually in the restaurant, but as far as actually ever being off from your restaurant, it's very rare.
It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Oh, yes, sir. Especially mentally, because you take it with you. You leave each night and you go home, and you usually take it to bed with you, and you try to think on the things that you did that day and how you could do them better and more efficient the next day.
Wow, that's pretty much any small business.
I was about to say that's a lot of
Pretty
small
much.
business.
Tessa's a small business owner. I'm a small business owner, as you know, and those are every day.
You're giving me a little anxiety about going to sleep tonight. I'm like,
Tessa's like, I'm on this stupid radio show right now, and I should be doing so many other things.
Yes, that is true, especially in these times. The small business owner's probably going to bed a lot at night with a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights going on for people right now.
It's tough, and that's kind of what we put this together for. Is we wanted to, talk to folks, not only kind of calm the fear of the anxiety of the individuals that could, catch the coronavirus, but also talk through, last week we did a show, briefly talked about the SBA loans and the disaster relief that's out there for small businesses. And every day, every interview we've had pretty much has been, most of them have been small business owners. So it's, the public put themselves in the shoes of where these small businesses are. And just like yours, Pizza Pro and Cabot, I mean, you've been a staple of Cabot since, the mid 80s. In what you guys do. And if folks want you to be there once this is over, they have to support those small businesses now. And you're one of those businesses that can't close your doors. I mean, I suppose you could, but in reality, your business by the government, governor's office, you are providing food. So you are an essential business. And, you can stay open. So, if the public wants Pizza Pro to be there, they have to support you during this time. Your utilities don't stop just because of the coronavirus. Your rent doesn't stop just because of the coronavirus. Your insurance payments doesn't just stop because of the coronavirus. None of those things stop because there's a pandemic going on. And therefore, you as a small business owner, just like Tess, just like myself, those are the worries that we have. Fortunate for you, you're on the opposite side, which nobody we've talked to so far, and that's why I'm interested in this conversation, is nobody else's businesses went up positively during this case. And your business, and you and I chatted about this a little bit last week, you've actually seen a jump in business. Tell us about that.
We have seen an increase. Of course, this is a little bit in our wheelhouse as far as the carry-out delivery operations. This is kind of pizza... Pizza's had that down, for many, many years.
Right.
as far as carry out, other type of carry out places, the Oriental food, Chinese, Japanese, they do a decent job, but this is right in our wheelhouse versus somebody, one of my favorite restaurants in Little Rock is Samantha's. Their menu just doesn't lend itself as easily to carry out, as amazing as their food is, right, or their location being down there on Main. So I think not only myself, but most of the pizza chains, we've got some great dine-in restaurants around us, and they're holding their own. They're doing what they can as far as their business model, as far as switching over to carry out. But you've got a lot of people, restaurant just right down the road from me that seats, 150 people a day and does a high volume, turns itself over probably 2 or 3 times a day. They're not seeing that. So we're getting the benefit of that. Now, they have done a great job as far as getting their product out for carry out, and they've worked really hard on social media. I think one thing that you'll see coming out of this is, if people didn't already understand the importance and relevance of social media, you will see that strengthen over the next year, probably over the next 2 or 3 years. Social media, it is somewhat of a double-edged sword with us. It's easy for people to say what they want behind a keyboard, but it's so important. So yes, we've seen an actual business increase because we've got a lot of traffic coming from other restaurants that they can't get into and dine in. And of course, this is kind of in our wheelhouse, what we already did.
So I guess with everybody being, in self-isolation, and both that's being families, but certainly with the kids being out of school, whether that's elementary, junior high, high school, they're all out right now. I'm sure that probably also helps your business. And in fact, do you guys do a lunch right now?
We do. Our lunch sales, that's been that's where the biggest portion of, as far as percentage increase has been, because we're not necessarily during the, where we're located during the week, during the school year, we're not necessarily kind of known as lunch place. We are open. We use that time to prep food for the rest of the day and take in what few orders that we have. So percentage wise, that's the biggest increase in our day. Parents calling, that still may have to go to work, and they're ordering Bite Squad, either for delivery or they've got a family member that's coming through, and so they'll call and order the kids pizza and have it picked up. Of course, the art of cooking at home has been lost on a lot of people, but especially the next generation. So even our kids, even though I've been involved in the restaurant industry pretty much all my life, my kids aren't, their first inclination is not to cook, where it was ours when we were younger, because, our parents just weren't going to, we just weren't going to eat out every meal.
Yeah. So we were hamburger helper, macaroni and cheese, all those fun things.
You better find something in the kitchen.
Exactly. So kids, the next generation really, I'm sure it's changed a little bit because, the Food Network, and there's some great shows out there, but overall, I would say percentage wise, way less of the next generation, knows how to cook, versus what we, they could probably throw ramen noodles in there, but yeah, like you said, we had hamburger helper and all the other things to figure out. So,
well, Sloppy Joe's.
Sloppy Joe's.
You make a mean can of Sloppy Joe. That's right, man.
That's manwich. Absolutely. Dude, I don't even know if they make manwich anymore.
It's a mystery.
So we're all going to rush tonight because you brought up items. My wife, who's an absolute whiz in the kitchen, she gets mad at me because every once in a while I'm like, some beef stroganoff, hamburger helper. And she's just like, oh, gosh.
Sometimes you just got to have that for nostalgia purposes, though,
Right. Right. So I even go back and get a can of Chef Boyardee pizza sauce because it will bring back memories when you try it. The little Chef Boyardee pizza kit had their own unique flavor. And so every once in a while, I'll get some of that sauce and use it on my crust at the restaurant just for myself.
So
I love it.
Right now, what does an average day look like for you at the pizza store? I mean, because it is different. Business is up. I mean, a good portion of your workers are teenagers. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That's one thing that's been interesting. I go, of course, being a small business, there's a fine line of me having enough employees or having too many. When I have too little and they're all needing an event off for school, if they all have events that overlap, then we find ourselves shorthanded. With them having no extracurricular activities going on right now, I've got so much availability. I'm having, they're bored. Also, these kids are bored and they're wanting to work. So they are getting some more hours because we're up. Generally during the daytime, we would just have one person for the first few hours that could catch enough business and start on the preps for the day. But with the business, I've actually been able to add another person during the day, and they both stay pretty busy. As far as procedures, of course, we strive to keep the restaurant clean as possible anyway, well before this hit. But we are wiping down, taking every 15 to 20 minutes and re-wiping, taking a few moments to stop everything that we're doing, wipe every area. We're wiping pins as we hand them out to the customer to sign their credit card slip through the drive-through. We're re-wiping as we take it in. We're wiping their cards down. Some things that we probably took for granted that will probably continue as far as sanitation goes. Mm-hmm. So that's been the biggest change. Even though we were clean before, just
you've kicked it up a notch.
We're stepping it up a notch, which I'm sure most restaurants are. So if there's any benefit to the public coming out of this, unless as a restaurant industry people get lax again, your restaurants will probably come out of this cleaner and stay cleaner than they ever have been.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, that's a good thing for folks that eat out. I mean, just listening to you say, you're creating a new habit for these workers, and hopefully that continues.
That sticks, yeah.
Right.
And that helps them carry that into their home life too, I bet. We've got to think about XYZ, doorknobs and light switches and,
I would hope so. Yeah.
I
would hope so. I've noticed a lot of the national chains are making, which most pizza places are like this. It's funny. They're capitalizing on it. I believe Papa John's and Little Caesars were the first two to do it, to talk about what their oven temperature was and that their pizza isn't touched by hands once it comes out of the oven. That was pretty well standard in the pizza industry anyway. We all run within 20 or 30 degrees of each other. We run at 450 degrees. I think one of the commercials said they run at 480. And we make every absolute effort and always have not to touch fully cooked product once it comes out of the ovens with bare hands. So that's been interesting to see those guys capitalize on that, and not maybe not so much capitalize, but maybe try to give people a little more peace of mind.
Yeah, right. they're telling the story of the things that they already do that really hasn't changed in their business model, but how it benefits folks that are sitting home really anxious about what's going on in this world.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. So I would say the restaurants that you are getting carry out or delivery from are probably the absolute cleanest they've ever been.
You deal with restaurants all day long. That's who you sell food to currently with PFG. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what are you seeing kind of across the board? Are there restaurants that have closed their doors that were customers of yours before this started that aren't there anymore? And then, what's the rest of the restaurants look like? Kind of, you don't have to mention any names, but just give us some brief laws of averages.
I do have some customers that have shut their doors, that do have plans. They're in financial situations that they can kind of weather this storm. Mm-hmm. And they do plan on reopening. It just wasn't that their menu really didn't lend itself to carry out and or delivery. As far as the conversations that we've had at work, and then also the gentleman that I worked for years for that founded Pizza Pro, and he has quite a few other restaurants that under the Pizza Pro name, he and I spoke the other day, and we're all coming in around the same, anywhere from about 25% to 33% probably won't make it back. And that's a pretty high number. Restaurants that were already struggling. What that will do is the ones that do make it through, I think they'll come through stronger. They'll also be looking at ways to, going forward, to have those items on their menu that do lend themselves to carry out or delivery, to basically have a portion of their menu that if this ever happens again, they have a plan B already in place.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, right now, looking at this, I mean, this is going to go in waves. We're going to see this type of pandemic either back again with coronavirus, which would be coronavirus 2020 or coronavirus 20, coronavirus 21. I mean, we're going to see this again, even if they come out with a vaccine. But on top of that, I mean, we're going to see other things like this probably more frequently now than, by far any time it's ever happened in history.
Yeah, my wife and I were both wondering that if this was going to be kind of like, each year you got your different strain, flu strain that's coming out. So it sounds like, you've probably done a little more homework on that, or you have. So that's what you're seeing is that we'll see this come around each year.
It's highly probable right now. It really is. So, it's completely unknown since we have no vaccine for this right now. But it looks like that's probably what we're going to see at least for the next few years, and then who knows what happens from there. If those antibiotics, those treatments that go to cure this, something continues to get stronger, bigger, faster, and we're affected by that, later on. Anyway, John, I know you're really busy, and we certainly appreciate you being on the show today. Please tell Lisa we said hello.
Will do. We all need to get, when this all clears up, we all need to get together.
We definitely do. And awesome. You mentioned a minute ago a friend of ours, Scott Stevens. Scott, if you're listening, I hope you're doing well. Hope your restaurants are doing well. And I hope that you're prepared to weather these storms, because we enjoy your places and we want to make sure that they're there when we get done. John, tell us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
His guys have really, I ran into the gentleman that's his vice president the other night. We were discussing things, and his company, the stores that they've got doing carry out, the employees have really stepped up. They're utilizing that social media as we spoke about, and they've really done an amazing job of owning their business the best they can right now.
Well, and I think that goes back to, Scott's been an owner-operator of restaurants now for decades. So this isn't new to him. He definitely knows how to, adapt. He knows how to adapt. He knows how to extend the money when he needs to extend the money to cover the things that he needs to cover, and just really run a lean, mean business. That can operate in pretty much any time, whether that's feast or famine.
Yeah, never seen anybody better at it.
Well, John, your restaurant is located, Pizza Pro and Cabot's, at 906 South Pine Street in Suite 1 in Cabot, Cabot, Arkansas.
That's correct. The old Night Shopping Center, where now it's anchored by TSC Tractor Supply Company, but that's correct.
Gotcha. Phone number there is 501-843-9595. Call and get some lunch or dinner. And they can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/Pizza Pro of Cabot. Pizza Pro of Cabot. And we'll put the links for all of this and all the contact information in the description of this show. Johnny, we certainly appreciate you being on, and we'll hope you do well, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Jason and Tessa. You have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
You know what that sound is.
I do.
That sound is your favorite part of the show.
It is. It's the sound of shit we're into.
Shit we're into? What are we going to be talking about today on We're Into?
We're going to be talking about one of our favorite shows.
Woo!
It's back.
What show?
Ozark.
Ozark is back. Season 3 is out.
It is. It's up. It's out.
It's been out for a couple weeks now, I believe.
We're 9 episodes in.
Well, all we've got left is the finale.
Oh my gosh.
And it's building.
It's so intense.
It's building.
It's so intense.
Guys, yesterday was Sunday, and we stayed home, and as we've been staying home, but we stayed home, and
we really stayed home.
Watched this stuff.
Yeah, hunkered down, watched far too many episodes. Or was it far too many? It wasn't. It was just right.
It really was not enough.
I know.
So if you're not familiar with the show Ozark, it's on Netflix. It's the number 2 show in the country right now on Netflix.
Behind Tiger King.
We
finished Tiger King.
We finished last week.
Yeah.
So we're able to catch up on Ozark. Normally I would binge watch it, start watching the show the minute it came out, but we were caught up in Tiger King. And
we were
putting together this show. This is episode 6.
It is.
So smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel.
And share with your friends.
Share it with your friends.
Do it.
So Ozark, talking about Ozark, if you're not familiar with it, it is filmed on a lake in Missouri, up kind of around the Springfield area. I think it's Lake Osage, if I'm not 100% certain. The Ozark Mountains.
Yes, it is the Ozark Mountains. So our neighbors.
So Branson, Springfield, kind of that whole area up in there. If you've never been to Lake Osage, it's absolutely beautiful. And I believe that's the lake that this is being recorded on. It's got Jason Bateman is the lead character. And basically the overall storyline is he and his family of 4, his wife and 2 kids, 2 teenage kids, they moved from Chicago to Lake Osage to the Ozarks, and basically they launder money for the mob.
Yeah, essentially,
not the mob. It's
kind of the mob.
It's the Mexican cartel.
It's mob-esque.
They are laundering money for the Mexican cartel. And they also have a partnership with the Kansas City mob.
Right. So a lot of it's intense. It's intense.
It is. There's a lot of things that happen. So this show is so well casted. First and foremost, I can tell you, there's only a couple of the people that are in the show that you've probably seen in other things. Most of these folks this is what they were casted for. It's kind of their first big roles. And guys, the show's amazing. The cast is so well put together. They did
such a good job.
They're all great actors and actresses, and they really play well off of each other.
They really do.
So Jason Bateman his name is Marty Bird, and so it's the Bird family.
Yeah, the Bird family.
You got Wendy, and then 2 teenage kids, Charlotte and Jonah, and just every episode. Crazy things happen, and we don't want to go into too many spoilers, and we haven't seen the whole season yet, so we will be coming back and talking more about this.
Right, we will. Probably pretty soon.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have a guest on that will also have some Ozark insight, but right now, this season, the end of last season, they opened a casino, so they got a riverboat casino license. So they have a casino going on there. Keep in mind, part of their partners are the Kansas City mob.
Right.
And then
we've got some drug dealer partners.
The financiers are basically, they are the Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
So over and above that, there's opium fields that are planted up through the Ozarks.
Right. They were burned last season. The
sheriff's office is paid off.
Right.
There's been death, there's been murder, there's been mayhem.
There's been a therapist with a really badass car.
Therapist decided that to keep her mouth shut, she was going to need a little hush money, and she decided to go buy a McLaren. A yellow McLaren.
Yellow, because that's
with her hush money, So she's this little old lady that all of a sudden is driving a McLaren.
I mean, she looks like a little cat lady that likes to knit, and then she shows up in this badass car.
Yeah, she did get the hush money. Did work?
It did
because her and the McLaren ended up in the lake.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, first she ended up in a roll of visqueen plastic on the floor, and then tucked into the
Do you think the
McLaren.
guy felt bad about killing her? Like, I think he sort of did. Like,
He's a hitman.
I mean, I know he's a hitman. That's his job. But, I mean, he sat down and, like, had a little convo with her and was, like, getting some insight on his life.
I think she asked him, though, the question was, are you tired of doing what you're doing?
Or
Is there
what do
something
you
else
do?
you want to do?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not tired of it. And that was right before he killed her. So obviously,
I mean,
no
but
effects.
Solved one of his life's problems,
She helped.
She did.
Therapy helps, guys.
It does. It does.
Just, JennyCaldwell.net if you're needing a therapist right now.
It's true.
So any other things that you want to share about the show?
I just really can't wait to watch the finale. I'm so excited.
Guys, I'm telling you.
But I'm not, because I've heard it's like a really big finale and we're going to have to watch it twice and to really figure out what happens. And,
Yeah, the upsetting thing to me about the show Ozark
is that we only have one episode left.
Well, we only have one episode left, but it's like every time when you finish the season, it's like, holy crap, when is this going to come out again?
I know. It's sort of like the characters each have their own story, and you kind of get wrapped up in it and them, and it's like, when are they going to come back? It's like they're sort of like, I don't want to say friends, but kind of, not really. I mean, if you're friends with people that deal with the cartel and stuff like that, but you get wrapped up in the story.
It's cool how Netflix puts the entire season on at one time, which is pretty cool. When a new season comes out, boom, here it is. The unfortunate side about that is you can go watch the entire season,
their whole season,
in 1 week or over a 2-week period of time, and then you've got 52 more weeks before it comes out again, and that kind of sucks. So Netflix,
what have you done to us, Netflix?
You've got to get the stuff out. Film 2 seasons in a year. Come on, get with it. Unfortunately, now, I wonder what this is going to do, not only to this show, but to other shows, because this show is a seasonal show. They film it around summer, on the lake, all of that traffic. Right now with CoronaCation and, actors, actresses, people in general aren't out and about.
No.
It's probably not going to be filmed this year. If it is, it's going to be on the late side of going more into fall.
Don't tell me that.
So it's probably going to be later that it comes out next year if it does happen.
How that's going to affect the story.
Don't know.
I guess we have to wait and find out.
We'll have to wait and find out. But, it's very interesting to see how CoronaCation affects everything, even TV.
It does. It really does. A lot of shows have gone on hold and all that. Like, it's wild.
Yep.
Every sector.
Anyway, guys, that's shit we're into.
That is the shit we're into right now.
We're into Ozark on Netflix, and it's shit you should be into. If there's other shit that you're into that we need to know about, please share it with us in the comments below and let us know. We'd be happy to check that out.
Yes.
And tell others about it. But
talk about it.
We need you to tell us about it. Tell us what shit you're into.
Yes, please do.
Anyway, come back tomorrow for another show. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we're going to have Lori Sparkman of Sparkman Photography. She's a local photographer. She's going to talk about what CoronaCation is doing in the photography business, how that's affected.
Photographers have been getting really creative with their work too.
They're certainly getting creative. They're having to do things that they wouldn't have done before, but the beauty of a photographer is they have that creative mindset in the first place. I mean, they can do that. They can make me look good. Lori's made me look good multiple times, guys. So I'm sure she's got some tips with us that's going to be great. She can share with us. She'll be here with us tomorrow. If there's something that you want to hear, if you want us to talk about something specifically, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you've got a product or a service or something that you want to promote, if you want to sponsor our show, we'd love to hear from you. Just leave the comments in the description or comment section below, and we'll get back to you. We always love hearing from our subscribers. On Facebook, guys, we've exploded. Facebook has exploded this last week, and we want to say thanks if you've liked us on Facebook. YouTube, not so much.
We would love it if all of our Facebook followers went over to YouTube. It is one click, y'all. Went over to YouTube, hit subscribe.
We're going to be doing some challenges coming up this week, coming up soon. We're going to be doing a lot of product giveaways and things like that. So subscribe on YouTube so that you can take advantage of that.
Yes, absolutely. So If you didn't catch that before, subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with your friends. And thanks for shooting the shit with us.
Thanks for shooting the shit with us. Wash your hands.
Stay the fuck home.
Stay home. Stay safe.
Social distance, all the things.
We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye, y'all.